Sagittarius moon. These people can get very loud about what they, see or don't like in a moment when they get emotional. They'll get loud and let you know right away, I don't like this about you. They have no filter, unfiltered. They'll tell you exactly, what they don't like, you know, don't do it again in front of me, or, I could get violent, I could get real hot, you know, don't ever fucking do that type of thing in my area. Certain things just, trigger them and they like don't like it. You know, maybe they are doing something. They're trying to, look towards, better days. You know, they have opportunities in front of them and then something steps in their way or they feel that way. Really, they feel deeply about, what's going on. It's supposed to be like this, but for some reason, I can't create the fun experiences I'm trying to have. And I'm usually, you know, it's supposed to happen, or I feel deeply that it's supposed to happen, but it's not happening, and it ain't happening right now. Now I'm pissed off. Now I'm impatient. Now, because I'd seen something, right? I had seen something that was supposed to happen, and I was confident it was gonna happen. I'm supposed to meet this girl. We're supposed to, eat, have fun. I'm supposed to meet my friends. We're supposed to go somewhere, and they're supposed to, run around with me and just have a great day. But then something like comes up in it and like fucks this shit up. Something that was like kind of unaccounted for because you were, as a Sagittarius moon, was lost in the whole fun aspect of things. You didn't like that, so you lashed out. You were pissed. You know, I didn't plan for you to be here. I didn't, have, you know, want any, like, and I don't mind sometimes other people being there as long as you understand that you ain't one of the main, people I want around me. You can't be here though if you're like not, something I'm trying to be around. I don't find you fun enough. I don't find your presence being very, anything that I like. You know, that is not what I like. You're trying to bring people's spirits down while I'm trying to bring people up. That's, very disrespectful. You ain't acknowledging what I can bring, what I do for my friends, what I try to do, and I'm just trying to have those experiences and move on too. I'm not even trying to be here, doing shit like that, digging in your ass about anything. Not really, but you had to mess my fun up, so now I'm going to mess your fun up. Or address you in a direct manner. Not necessarily a direct manner, but an unfiltered manner. One manner that is not so, you know, respectful, disrespectful, because you weren't hearing me when you should have been hearing me, because I'm a person that does, when I am, very, you know, fired up, very energetic, very, you know, just trying to live my life. You're going to come in here and try to make it so, I ain't. You're kind of like an obstacle in my way, which I wasn't trying to have shit like that. I was just trying to have fun and live life and laugh and do all this. But now you're going to, fuck around and do shit like that. You know, make this shit dull or make, you know, try to fucking, pour extra, bullshit on me when I'm just trying to have fun. So I'm going to get loud and I am going to, be proud about what I want to do. And I'm going to, make you feel some type of way too. I'm going to hurt your fucking feelings. I will hurt your feelings. I might talk about how you ain't like me in that area, and how you can't, you can't understand people, how you can't, um, find a way to just, get on with whatever the fuck you're going on with. But you're going to try to bring me down because I'm actually trying to have fun and you don't like that I'm trying to have fun. So you're going to try to bring me down, but I'll call you out for that. You know, these people will do that. And it ain't going to be, pretty either. They might get active. They might grab you and like shake the fuck out of you. Like, yo, I don't fucking do that shit. And they don't necessarily want to do that because these people are, fun loving people. You know, they care about their friends. They like to bring people's spirits up. You know, they want to explore life and see all life has to offer. Anything that grabs their attention, they want to seek that, and they don't want to wait. They don't have time to wait. For any of it, they'll go, "Oh, I have the spark. I was this has sparked my interest, so now I'm gonna go find it." No time to waste. We're doing that now. That's a good thing that they have that. They like to seek newness and all that. But then, when you're, coming into their life and you're trying to like be standoffish or, they might, well, because it's the moon sign, right? They feel you're trying to be standoffish towards them. And they were really, trying to just have fun, truly, but then you come in there and you trying to, tell them this, tell them that, or, bring shit down, to a more, whatever, more not so fun type of vibe. They're going to get angry. They'll be pissed the fuck off. So let these guys, let these females, go off, explore life, and like, not hold back because life's about living life. They might want to do something, a little bit risky, but they don't, they see a way out of that, situation. They, it might be risky, but, at the end of the day, we'll still be able to, move forward and live our life. These people are like that. Optimistic people, truly. That's the Sagittarian moon. You guys, be cool, calm the corner, and try not to, get too hot. Let them know. Let them know for sure. Definitely let them know that they're, messing you up. They're bringing shit down and everything else. But you gotta, if you have to, put your hands on them, then do. But try to hold that back if you can. And that's just my advice to you. Be cool on the corner.